Hi, my name is Amar, and I'm a student at Columbia University. One of the main subjects I teach is AP Bio. I've reached a high standard of excellence in each of the AP courses I've taken that allows me to tutor these subjects to students effectively. I've earned an A in each course and a 5 on each exam, and in addition, last year was one of 52 students to earn a perfect score on the AP Microeconomics exam worldwide. I've also applied myself extensively to math and science beyond the classroom, conducting my own scientific research for which I was awarded recognition on the global stage. I plan to continue this dedication in my studies as a math and science major at Columbia, and in my research under the Science Research Fellowship I was awarded to attend the university. Alright, for this demo we're going to look at a topic in AP Bioecology, a process called eutrophication. Now, eutrophication can occur in any body of water, from a lake to a river to an ocean, but we're going to use a lake for this example. The first step in eutrophication is that the nutrient levels in the lake, such as nitrogen or phosphorus, are elevated, usually due to chemical fertilizers in agriculture running off from farmland into the lake. Now, once you have these heightened levels of nutrients, the algae that's in the lake feeds off these nutrients and is able to grow at a much higher rate than normal, leading to algal blooms. As you can see here, the water looks green because the algae is covering the surface of the water. And because there's a sheet of algae over the top of the lake, sunlight isn't able to penetrate through to any plants below. So these plants at the bottom of the lake begin to die off as well because they don't get enough sunlight. In addition, the algae eventually uses up all the nutrients that it got from the fertilizer, and they begin to die off as well. So you have a large amount of dead matter in the lake, and now this begins to decompose. And the decomposers that are doing this decomposition use up a lot of oxygen. So if there's enough dead matter and enough decomposers, this can completely deplete the lake of oxygen. And of course, there's a lot of life in the lake that needs oxygen to survive, including fish. So these organisms then begin to die off as well, leading to fish kills such as this one, where you have mass die-offs of lake life. So as you can imagine, it's very important in conservation to be very careful in not letting nutrients accidentally run off into bodies of water to cause this very harmful process. Now, another interesting thing about eutrophication is that it's a very good example of trophic structure interactions. A trophic structure is also known as a food web, composed of the different levels of consumption within an ecosystem, from producer to primary consumer and so on. And as you can see in the example of eutrophication, it starts out with the abiotic factors of the ecosystem, the nutrients, and then goes up to the algae, which consume these nutrients, and when the algae die off, goes to decomposers, who then decompose the dead algae. And then finally, the decomposers deplete the lake of oxygen and affect the fish, killing them off. And this last interaction is unique in that it's not a conventional food web interaction. Usually it's something one organism consumes another. But here you see that it's an indirect interaction in that the decomposers change the environment, namely the oxygen levels, and this subsequently has an effect on the fish. So that's an interesting little point to make there. This also brings up the idea of the difference between the bottom-up and the top-down model of an ecosystem that comes up in AP Bio. In the bottom-up model of an ecosystem, a change in population at a lower level in the trophic structure has an effect on all the levels above it, up and up, as the effect propagates up through the ecosystem. In the top-down model, a change in population at the top of the food chain of the trophic structure will then have effects down the trophic structure, affecting the primary consumer and then the producer and so on. And the main point is that in each of these models, the opposite direction of effect isn't possible. So if you have a bottom-up model, a change in population at the top won't affect anything below it. Now, this distinction between these two models is a source of a lot of speculation within science, because it's very hard to tell theoretically which way the effect will travel if you make a certain change in an ecosystem. But as you can see in the eutrophication example, it's going along with the bottom-up model. You start out with nutrients and then go to the primary producer of algae, and finally the effect travels upwards until it finally reaches the fish. So finally, to bring it all together, this example brings to mind a very important concept that an ecosystem can be a very dynamic system. Any small change in one aspect or organism or species within an ecosystem can have widespread ramifications for the entire ecosystem. And it goes to show how sensitive an ecosystem can be to change. And this is very important to consider when conducting analysis of ecosystems or thinking of the cause and effect of what will happen when any one change is made in an ecosystem for whatever reason. And this cause and effect analysis comes up a lot in AP Bio and is very important to consider and to note here. Besides AP Bio, I also teach a wide range of math and science AP courses. I don't like to say that I have a main subject because that implies I have less expertise or focus in any of the others, which isn't the case. I dedicate myself greatly to each of my subjects to ensure that I'm able to fulfill the needs of any student who studies with me. I'm also quite versatile in my teaching. I can be very thorough in making sure a student understands a concept to its fullest extent, but I can also adapt and change pace if I see that a student already has a good grasp on a certain topic. Learning isn't one size fits all, so I make sure to be adaptable to find the learning style that best suits you. Thank you for watching my video, and I look forward to working with you.